Hi guys, let's continue with our look into the Tao Te Ching from chapter 11. Chapter 11, the use of the unused. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the emptiness inside that makes it livable. We pierce holes for windows and doors, but it is the emptiness that allows light to shine through. Therefore, the value of the pot lies in its ability to hold things. The value of the house lies in its ability to shelter us, and the value of the windows and doors lies in the ability to allow air and light to flow. In the same way, the Tao creates everything in the universe, yet it is the emptiness within that gives the world its meaning and purpose. This chapter speaks to the value of emptiness, a concept that may seem counterintuitive in a world that often prioritizes fullness. The pot, the house, the window, they are all only meaningful because of the emptiness they contain. Similarly, in life, it's often the spaces between things, the quiet moments, and the pauses in action that give everything its meaning. The Tao itself is like this emptiness, present everywhere, yet intangible. It teaches us to value what is unseen, the things we cannot touch, but can feel, the silence that makes the music worth hearing. Chapter 12. The five senses and the Tao. The five colors blind the eyes. The five tones deafen the ears. The five flavors spoil the palate. Racing and hunting madden the mind. Precious goods lead one astray. The sage attends to the belly, not to the senses. He dwells in the Tao, not in material distractions. Therefore, the sage is a person of moderation, avoiding excess and extravagance. By focusing on the essential, he maintains peace and balance. Chapter 12 highlights the dangers of excess. Our senses, when overstimulated, can cloud our judgment and lead us astray. The world is full of distractions that take us away from our true path. Whether it's an overwhelming visual spectacle, constant noise, or the lure of material wealth, the sage knows that peace comes from simplicity and moderation. The Tao calls for a return to balance, for recognizing that happiness and fulfillment are not found in indulgence, but in the quiet and subtle aspects of life. By detaching from the noise, the sage finds clarity. Chapter 13. Favor and disfavor. Favor and disfavor are both the same. The one who is favored today may be disfavored tomorrow. The one who is disfavored today may be favored tomorrow. In the world of duality, we often mistake favor for blessing and disfavor for curse. But in truth, both are fleeting. Those who embrace the Tao remain detached from the ups and downs of fortune. They understand that favor and disfavor are both temporary and neither is permanent. The sage does not attach to external circumstances, knowing that all things are subject to change. Chapter 13 teaches us about the impermanence of both favor and disfavor. In our modern world, we are often swayed by the highs and lows of fortune, whether it's praise or criticism, success or failure. Yet the Tao reminds us that these are passing experiences. The sage remains unmoved, knowing that favor and disfavor are just two sides of the same coin. By embracing this truth, we can cultivate an inner peace that is not dependent on the approval or rejection of others. In this way, we free ourselves from the emotional roller coaster of external circumstances. Chapter 14. The Mystery of the Tao. Look, it cannot be seen what it is. Listen, it cannot be heard what it is. Grasp, it cannot be held what it is. These three are intangible and invisible, and yet they are present. The Tao is the source of all things, the unseen origin of all creation. It flows through everything and is everywhere, though we cannot perceive it directly with our senses. The Tao is vast and mysterious, so deep and endless, yet its presence is unmistakable. It exists beyond duality, beyond concepts of good and bad. The more you seek to understand it, the more elusive it becomes. The Tao is the ungraspable truth. Chapter 14 speaks directly to the ineffable nature of the Tao. It cannot be captured by the senses or confined to the limitations of language. The Tao is the force that underlies all of existence, yet it cannot be perceived through our ordinary means. It is beyond the dualities. There is no good or bad in the Tao, only the flow of life itself. The more we try to pin it down, the more it slips away. But the beauty of the Tao lies in its mystery. It is in the unseen, the unknown, and the unknowable that true wisdom resides. Sometimes the greatest truth is that which cannot be fully understood. Chapter 15. The Sage's Way. The ancient masters were profound and subtle. Their wisdom was so deep and vast, their guidance so mysterious, that they could not be easily described. They were careful in their actions and words. They were like the ocean, unmoving and vast. They were like the wind, soft and invisible. They embraced the Tao, and the Tao embraced them. The sage is like this, not seeking fame or recognition. He is not distracted by external things, but remains steady and true, as deep and unfathomable as the Tao itself. This chapter describes the sage as a person who is deeply in tune with the Tao. The ancient masters were not easily understood, for their wisdom was so subtle and profound. They didn't seek attention, accolades, or worldly success. Instead, they lived in harmony with the Tao, embodying its quiet strength and peaceful presence. The sage knows that true wisdom does not come from seeking fame or recognition, but from living authentically and in harmony with the natural flow of life. My final thoughts applying the Tao Te Ching in our modern world. As we move through our daily lives in this fast-paced, distraction-filled world, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the noise, the excess, and the constant pursuit of external validation. The teachings of the Tao Te Ching offer us a timeless blueprint for living with balance and harmony. Yet these teachings couldn't be more relevant in today's modern world. In a society that values achievement, accumulation, and constant activity, the Tao asks us to slow down, to seek stillness, and to recognize the importance of what's not immediately visible, like the emptiness inside a pot or the space within a house. It's a call to embrace simplicity, to stop chasing after external rewards and instead to find contentment in what we already have. Today, we're surrounded by constant distractions, our senses overloaded with information, advertisements, and the pressure to perform. But, as we saw in chapter 12, The more we fill our lives with excess, the more we miss the true essence of existence. By practicing moderation and focusing on what truly matters, we can begin to reclaim our inner peace. The Tao also reminds us that favor and disfavor, like success and failure, are fleeting. In our culture of comparison and social media validation, we often place our self-worth in the hands of others' opinions. But the wisdom of the Tao teaches us to detach from these external circumstances and focus on our inner lives. True peace comes when we learn to live authentically, regardless of the highs or lows we may face. Finally, the Tao speaks to the deep mystery of existence, something that can't be fully understood or controlled. In today's world, where information is abundant and answers are often just a click away, the Tao encourages us to embrace the unknown. It reminds us that some of the greatest truths are beyond our intellectual grasp, and it's in surrendering to the flow of life that we find true wisdom. As we look at these ancient teachings, we can apply them to our own lives by learning to step back, simplify, and live in harmony with the natural world around us. We can learn to find peace in the spaces between things, to be present in the moment, and to align ourselves with the Tao, just as the sages of old did. In a world that never stops, the Tao Te Ching invites us to find stillness. In a world that tells us to seek more, the Tao teaches us to embrace enough. And in a world that demands constant action, the Tao reminds us that sometimes the greatest wisdom comes from simply being,